All right, this is Justify. He's going to be the favorite for the Kentucky Derby. He's going to be something like 5-2. This is his very first race. He started racing at 3 years old. This is a maiden race in February 18th. And he was just... He's facing the small field. He's mostly faced small fields. Mostly cupcakes. Very easy horses. This was a pretty good win. His second start was an optional claimer, I believe, in March 11th. Again, not facing much. Looked pretty impressive. Won this race on a wet track. So he's pretty versatile. He can win on dry. Wet track doesn't bother him. Looked pretty good doing this too. You might notice that he changed silks. In the first race he was wearing some white silks. In the second race he's wearing red silks. That's because he's co-owned by two different groups. And this was his stakes debut, the Santa Anita Stakes. This is the first time he faced winners. Not winners, stakes winners. He faced Bolt de Oro and Stilled Regard. But really, he was just facing one horse. He was facing Bolt de Oro. In my opinion, Bolt was not 100% in this race. He'd come off a very hard race, so... Again, he's facing a short field. Wasn't really tested. Went to the lead. And in the end, he kind of won pretty easily. So a few things to mention about this horse. He's undefeated. He's 3 for 3. And when horses are undefeated, it seems like they'll never lose. But he's just a horse. They all lose. Even Secretariat lost, the best horse of all time. Some positives are that he's trained by Bob Baffert and ridden by Mike Smith, who really are two of the best in the game. This is his gallop out. He doesn't give you much of a gallop out. He actually gets passed by the third place horse. Just something that should talk about too. So here are his past performances. 3 starts. Let's talk about the negatives and why you should try to beat this horse. So he's only raced 3 times. He's faced very easy competition. He hasn't been battle tested. He never raced at 2 years old, so he doesn't have that foundation that all Kentucky Derby winners have. And this is where we bring up the Curse of Apollo, which is like a 130-year curse. Basically, all it says is that horses really need to have raced at 2 to have a foundation, to have those building blocks that you need to prepare you for a test as hard as the Kentucky Derby. I think in the Kentucky Derby, several of the top contenders, a lot of the top contenders want to be where he is going to be. He's going to be sort of either forwardly placed or stalking. As the favorite, a lot of these jockeys are going to say, really, this horse with 3 starts is going to win the Kentucky Derby? I think they're going to soften him up. They're going to take some shots at him. And somebody's going to beat him. I don't know who yet, but somebody's going to beat him. He may end up second, third. That's perfectly acceptable, but I'm convinced that somebody is going to beat him. Some more negatives. He's a son of Scat Daddy whose offspring, I think, have some distance limitations. I think Baffert is pushing this horse a little too soon and asking him to go pro when he's mostly played with amateurs. I think in his mind, he's had some late developers like West Coast last year and Arrogate a couple of years ago, who ended up being the best of the generation. They ended up being the best 3-year-olds. And he's got to wonder, what if this horse, Justify, is another West Coast, another Arrogate? And what if I would have sent those horses to the Kentucky Derby? I think he wants that question answered, and that's why he's pushing them too soon. My opinion, he is going to be a very vulnerable favorite, and from a gambling standpoint, you should try to beat him.